My name is Nikki Nathan, and I'm a UPOU Women in Development student. This is my first research conference, and I am grateful and honored to be present. What I'd like to present to you today is my feminist research titled Evaluation of a Questionnaire as an Instrument for Measuring the Level of Knowledge about the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act among homeless women in Quezon City. I work as a facilitator and assistant counselor at Holy Spirit Social Center. The Holy Spirit Social Center is a non-governmental organization run by the Missionary Sisters Servants of the Holy Spirit in Cubao, Quezon City. Holy Spirit Social Center's Bahay Mapagnibagong Pahinga na may layuning dala or mapalad program aims to transform its beneficiaries, the homeless, into hopeful and productive individuals while also providing a sanctuary from their challenging life on the streets. It provides a safe haven for the homeless, allowing them to sleep, shower, cook, and wash their clothes. Women and children have become homeless as a result of domestic violence and gender inequality. The majority of the homeless women at HSSC Bahay Mapalad had experienced verbal, sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. The Magna Carta of Women is a comprehensive common freedoms law for women that seeks to end female oppression by recognizing, securing, gratifying, and developing the rights of Filipino women, particularly those in marginalized sectors. Furthermore, the Safe Space Act prohibits all forms of orientation-based, lewd conduct, and gender-based sexual harassment in public places, educational or training facilities, the workplace, and online. The purpose of this paper is to find out and answer the question of how knowledgeable women, specifically homeless women beneficiaries of Holy Spirit Social Center in Cubao, Quezon City, are about these two laws. Mostly because we have many laws, but not all of them are accessible to those in the marginalized sector. For my research methods, I use the International Food Policy Research Institute's Reach, Benefit, and Empower framework to conduct this research. Reach women participants by including them in program activities, benefit women by improving their circumstances, and empower women by strengthening their ability to make and implement strategic life choices. I also use pre and post-test questionnaires as an evaluation tool to assess the knowledge of the homeless women about the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act in the Philippines. Lastly, I applied the feminist standpoint theory. According to Brooks, feminist standpoint theory is a distinct philosophy of knowledge construction that encourages us to see and understand the world through the eyes and experiences of oppressed women and to apply their vision and knowledge to social activism and social change. Women are central to the research process in feminist standpoint theory. It is concerned with women's concrete lived experiences, which are valid because they are what they go through in their daily lives. Through these encounters, we can learn about women's knowledge and skills, which are frequently overlooked or undervalued. Tagalog was the language mode. Both the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act were discussed in Tagalog so that research participants could easily grasp and understand the contents of the two laws. In order to collect data for my research, I coordinated with the in-charge at HSSC Bahay Mapalad, which allowed me to conduct a study with their homeless women beneficiaries. When I went to the center, there were only 9 homeless women. I introduced myself, stating that I had previously worked there. Before I began talking about the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act, I read them the introduction and consent form of my survey and asked for their consent one by one. After explaining the contents of my research paper and the contents of my pre-discussion survey questionnaire and obtaining their consent, I gave them 10 minutes to complete the survey. My pre-test survey questionnaire is divided into 2 sections. The first section is the demographic profile, which includes questions about age, gender, marital status, religion, livelihood, and education. The second section is to determine whether they are familiar with the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act. When asked if they were familiar with the Magna Carta of Women, only 3 women are familiar with the Magna Carta of Women. 6 of the 9 research participants have never heard of it. When asked where they learned about it in the survey, the 3 women who are familiar with it said they learned about it at a seminar, in school, and on the internet. When asked if they are interested to join the discussion, all 9 research participants agreed to engage in discussion about the Magna Carta of Women. When asked if they were familiar with the Safe Space Act, only 2 women are familiar with the Safe Space Act. 7 of the 9 research participants have never heard of it. When asked where they learned about it in the survey, the 2 women who are familiar with it said they learned about it at the mall and on the internet. When asked if they are interested to join the discussion, all 9 research participants agreed to engage in a discussion about the Safe Space Act. After the research participants completed their pre-test, I collected their survey questionnaires and discovered that they are all interested in participating in the discussion about the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act. I was the one who discussed to the research participants about the 2 laws. After I discussed about the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act, I distributed the post-test survey. My post-test survey includes evaluations both before and after the discussion, and also includes evaluation of how the discussion was delivered as well as the impact of the discussion. I included a blank paragraph at the end of my post-test survey where they could write their comments about the discussion and suggestions for how I could improve my discussion of the 2 laws. I gave the research participants 15 minutes to complete the post-test survey. When asked to rate their knowledge about the topic before the discussion, 3 out of 9 research participants are knowledgeable about the subject and are willing to share their knowledge with others. 4 of the 9 research participants know a little bit about the topic, and 2 of the 9 participants said they knew a little bit about the topic before the discussion of the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act. When asked to rate their knowledge about the topic after the discussion, 1 of the research participants can be a resource speaker on the topic, 4 are knowledgeable about the topic and are comfortable sharing their knowledge with others. 3 of the 9 research participants are familiar with the topic but are hesitant to share their knowledge with others, and 1 research participant is familiar with the topic after discussing the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act. When asked to rate how the discussion about the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act was delivered, 5 of the 9 research participants thought the discussion was excellent, 1 thought it was very good, and 3 thought it was fair. When asked to rate how their knowledge on the topic improved by attending the discussion, 7 of the 9 research participants said they learned something completely new, and 3 said their knowledge of the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act had improved significantly. The important thing to note is that, according to the results and discussions of the pre-test and post-test that I conducted, those who have attended college are more familiar with the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act. The majority of research participants are senior citizens who are separated from their husbands, some of whom did not complete elementary and high school, are unemployed, and are unaware of the 2 laws. As a result, those in marginalized groups, particularly homeless women, have limited access to Philippine laws. Despite the fact that they do not have access to these types of laws, homeless women are eager to learn more about their rights. When I conducted this research, I was surprised because while they may not be aware of the contents and salient features of these laws prior to the discussion, they are aware of what constitutes verbal, physical, emotional, and sexual abuse because they have experienced it firsthand. As shown in the results of my pre-test, when I asked the homeless women if they wanted to participate in a discussion about the Magna Carta of Women and the Safe Space Act, they all agreed. I conclude that if given the opportunity and if such trainings and discussions are held, homeless women are eager to learn. I want to point out that human rights are God given. Human dignity is not something we can deprive another person of. It is fundamental to our existence, and I'd like to emphasize that women's rights are human rights. They cover every aspect of life, from health, education, political participation, economic well-being, and freedom from violence, among many others. Women and girls are entitled to the full and equal enjoyment of all their human rights and to be free from all forms of discrimination. This is fundamental to achieve human rights, peace and security, and sustainable development. Equality will exist only when women and girls have full access to their rights, including equal pay and land ownership rights, as well as sexual rights, freedom from violence, access to education, and maternal health rights. Only when women have assumed positions of leadership and peacemaking, as well as an equal political voice, will economies and countries be transformed. Only then will all women and girls be able to exercise their right to self-determination. On August 10, 2022, the Philippine Commission on Women published a brochure about the Magna Carta of Women in Filipino and Cebuano. Based on the figures and data gathered in my feminist research, I highly suggest lawmakers, national government agencies, local government units, and other humanitarian organizations to utilize this brochure to distribute to their women beneficiaries in marginalized sectors all over the Philippines. I sincerely appreciate your attention this morning, and that brings us to the end. I'd like to thank you for your time and attention today. Thank you so much for your interest and attention.